Welcome, my dear friends, for another edition of the magnificent spiritual revelations by the great spiritual author Percival, from his book Thinking and Destiny. This book represents a complete wisdom that is required for us to plan our lives and to know the purpose of our lives. In the last episode, we were considering what psychic destiny is, and today we move on in this session to physical body, the building of a new physical body. I am accompanied in this session by Brahma Vidvarishta Girija-Rajan, and I am S.K.Rajan, representing the Pyramid Valley International, Bangalore. So I move on to this reading. One's formed destiny begins with prenatal influences on the body in which he will dwell and last through life and beyond death until the end of his heaven period. The race to which the body will belong had been determined at the end of the previous life. The family in that race in which the body will be formed is selected to meet the requirements of the doer's destiny. The doer portion, which is to re-exist, brings about the influences which will affect its body during formation and will provide it through the family with such tendencies as are the result of its past thoughts and fit the opportunities of the present. Hardly ever is anyone in afterlife conscious of the suffering incident to the formation of the body in its place in the womb. He who does remember is one who understands his own shortcomings and his duties and the failings of his fellows, who sympathizes with the weakness of others and who endeavors to assist in the difficulties of life.
Beautifully said by Percival. Again, we come back to the part that is called as destiny. There is a formed destiny is being determined at the end of an incarnation. That is, after death, he goes through certain periods, certain stages. At that time, the race in which he has to be born in the next incarnation is decided, is planned, and the family also is selected at that time. So he will be, the doer will take a dip into another physical body and be born in that family, so that the family members also, along with their own karma, they enable him to undergo his karma. So to suit all that, his karma and his thought, the exteriorization of his thought, all these things happen in such a way that it fits him, fits his thoughts, the manifestation of his own thoughts, that happens. So that is how it is all planned earlier itself. But nobody, Percival says, nobody remembers all those hardships a person, the doer, will undergo during the time he is in the womb and the body is getting developed. That stage nobody will remember, because that painful period, that pain is removed from our memory in such a way that we are not again to have that memory and then suffer due to that. So we don't normally, nobody remembers. But a person who remembers those sufferings is really a great person who will know about his own shortcomings, and he will also know about the others' shortcomings, and he will also have the compassion to forgive others' shortcomings, because he himself has known his own shortcomings. So such a personality is a very great personality really, who will have his own life as a very smooth, adventurous life, and he may pave the way for others also. He may show the path to others, and that will be a very great revelation for him, because he has come to that stage of even remembering the pains in the womb itself, what pains he has undergone. So, that is a very great attainment. So, that much of abilities, psychic abilities a person is having, means his doer has grown to a very great extent. That is the result of that. So, he has taken many incarnations, and he has gone through many spiritual practices, and he has developed his that doer, that is, the person has developed in such a great manner that he will be revered and regarded, such a person, definitely. So, that is what we see in great personalities. We see all these things where they are very compassionate, they can adjust with others, their shortcomings, everything will be known to them, and their own shortcomings they will rectify easily. So, everything is known by that person. That is what Percival comes to say. We see such great personalities in our lives, in the course of our life also.
The selection of a family and of the time for building the body often involves many problems. The physical destiny of the doer in the body must fit in with the innumerable events in the lives of others and with public matters. Time, condition, and place are all important. To be born too soon or too late would mean being a misfit in the social order. The time for the beginning of a certain body must be selected so as to allow the cycles of its own life to intersect cycles in the lives of others with whom it is to be continued and connected. When the selection has been made, and at the time of the conception, the breath form enters the atmosphere of the father and the mother.
So, very beautifully put by Percival, that is, it is quite difficult to select a race, select a country, and select the locality, the society in which the person the doer has to come again onto this earth to have further experiences and to further learning. So, it all takes immense efforts there. So, after death, yes, the doer cannot simply take rest and for an inordinate amount of time. He cannot do that, and too quickly also he cannot decide, because those two persons who are too late or too early, they will be misfits here. So, sometimes it happens, no, they have not planned it properly, they did not take the time properly, or they have taken too much time to plan it. So, there is a certain amount of time that has to be spent, a reasonable amount of time to be spent in order to plan all these things, to plan a physical body, to plan the cycles of the experiences that has to intersect with the experiences of others. So, and with the society also, in the government, everywhere. So, in the person's doer's life, so many things, so many events happen, so many things take place. So, to plan all that, to event by event, everything is being planned. So, and then only the physical body is formed. So, before the physical body is formed, so much of planning has to happen. So, all the know of things should be in the hands of the doer. So, all the technical know-how, and also the destinies, that is the destinies that has to be meted out because of his thoughts, all those things have to be predetermined, pre-planned, so that he will have a smooth life here, and he will be able to learn much here, and also have enough joy in his life, so that the life will not become a boredom of so many hard events. It will not be like that. So, he has to plan all these things, intermittent. So much of planning, and a huge planning has to take place in order to plan this life on earth. It is not that very easy as we think. So, all these things we also have done it. We have planned everything, and that is how everything happens in our life. But we do not even consider that we have planned it. It is all dependent on so much of previous incarnations, thoughts, they have to be manifest here. We do not even look at all those things. We simply live here We do not know even why we have come here, what we are doing, what has to be done in order to have a smooth future. We don't consider all those things. So every planning is done, but here we have got enough freedom. Free will is there for us to even alter that, because we have planned it. We can alter it in such a way that the life is suitable to us, and we can work out our specific plans, the specific prominent our goals are there. So we can work out that, we can attain those goals. So all those things are there. So many things are there, and we have got the free will also after coming over here. That is what in PSSM it is taught by Brahmashri Pitamaha Patriji, that we have to exercise our free will in order to make this life a wonderful life. So all those past destinies are there, but to surpass that we need a strong mind, a clear mind, and to develop that we have to have a certain amount of practice of meditation. So that is what is the final message given by this Pyramid Spiritual Society's movement to each and every individual. So we take all this message from Percival and combine with our own principles and make life so beautiful. So that we can understand all these minute things. So it is very important to know that we have planned our own lives. That is very, very, very important for us to know that. That is the science behind every life, that we create our own realities.
Conception is caused by the presence of the form of the breath form. It binds the two germs in the body of the woman by fusing the radiant matter in both germs, and is the center at which the universal forces begin the building of the new physical body. This radiant matter develops into a small astral or radiant solid body which takes on the impressions from the form. The expansion of the radiant solid body within the fused cells causes the physical cells to divide and so to multiply until the potential form within the radiant solid body is gradually built out into the growing embryo. The bonding is the union of the three and is like a gong, a summons, or a trumpet blast. Inaudible to physical ears, the summons brings in the elementals which are directly concerned with the building in their order. Hundreds of these gongs resound through the world every minute, but each call is answered by those elementals only which are to build that particular body.
So much is there in building of the body, which so far nobody has, I think, explained so much in detail. Thanks to Percival ji for this great revelation. That is, there is so much of bombardment that is going on. So with that the cells divide. So many cells from the embryo in the mother's womb. What happens? The building of the body takes place. This is a great event by itself. So the cells have to divide themselves. How do they do that? The radiant force comes inside. So the radiant force is being absorbed, and then the whole matter goes into a blast. Then they divide, and each organ is being formed to that limit, where up to where the womb can be occupied. Then time comes for it to come out and then grow by itself. So there up to which the body has to be developed, that is developed there within the womb. That is a very, very fantastic event that is happening, but it involves pain, pleasure, everything, and knowing, knowledge and feelings, desire, everything is there. So the doer undergoes all these things there in the womb, but nobody remembers about that, because the pain is so much that we don't even care about it. But at the same time we should know that there are so many blasts taking place, bombardment taking place, like a gong striking, that is not audible to the physical ears. The mother will not know about it, but the elementals in the nature will know about it. They come for help. Once this bombardment takes place, the sound is heard by the elementals, and the elementals in nature, they are all very great helpers. they come to the physical body and they also help in development of the physical, that part of the physical body. So, every time gong strikes, immediately the elementals rush there and then develop the help in development of that organ. So, every organ is like that developed with the help of innumerable elementals in nature, that they also help us. So, it is very important for the pregnant woman to be in calmness, in silence, and invite all these elementals for the baby to develop in a very great manner and to have a wonderful physical body. So, that is very essential. So, the lady has to, that is what is taught in PSSM, that every pregnant lady has to, when it is the pregnancy is confirmed, has to start doing serious meditation, and regularly also. There should be sincerity and regularity and seriousness, and then we can see the difference. The physical body is so developed in such a manner that it can be a very healthy body. That is what is very essential. So, that is what Percival also says, and we here in PSSM and Percival, we go hand in hand in all these matters. So, I think our principles and his principles are the same. So, how a person should live, how a lady should live, how a man should be. So, all these things are there. So, for us to know so much, so very interesting. So, on to Rajan sir for further reading.
Malformations, defects, diseases and disposition to ailments which come in later life are built by elementals from impressions upon the breath form into the radiant solid body at about the time that they appear in the flesh. These formations are forms of thoughts. In a former life, repetition of some thought or a sudden energy concentrated and poured into a thought give it a mold which made an impression upon the aya. Elementals now sense the mark which is projected upon the new breath form and build it into the radiant solid and then into the flesh body. The thought is exhibited now in that part of the body or connected with the center through which the thoughts of that particular kind usually come into the human system when a man thinks.
So, see how our thought manifests everything. So, thought is so much of energy, filled with so much of energy. So, when a person finally vacates his body, goes on, moves on to other realms, then at that time so many things are imprinted on his breath form. When the breath form leaves the body, physical body finally, then so many impressions are made, and that is being again brought about from the psychic field. It is brought into the womb, and then elementals, and when these impressions are marked in the radiant body, radiant solid body, then the elementals who come to create the flesh body, they know the impressions, they can see the impressions and work out in such a way, they help in such a way that the flesh body is having all those impressions. That is, it is replicated. That is, it is formed in that manner, in which there may be a deformity, an ailment, or a future ailment possibility. All these are imprinted there in the flesh body itself. So that those thoughts are being manifested here as a destiny. So that is how it is formed. We do not even know about this, but beautifully put by Percival sir, so that we can understand. So our own thought, how it comes and how the elementals work on it and how the deformity is being carried out. Because we have had thoughts which are very much concentrated and which are very seriously entertained by us in such a way that such things happen in future. So, how very careful we have to be with our thoughts, that is what again we have to remember. So, we have to go now and then, we have to go without any thoughts in our mind, so that our thought becomes clearer and unwanted thoughts are immediately removed, and so that we do not create any destiny for us any further. So, any further destiny is avoided. So, that is what is the underlying meaning on all these things. To know all this in detail is to know that our own powers, how we can lead our life, how we can live in such a manner that we don't even create any destiny.
The physical body is prepared and built in the prenatal state by the 4 classes of elementals. According as one class predominates in the combination, the man is endowed with certain abilities or disabilities which come out in his youth or in later years. Where the fire elementals prevail, the man will be agile and quick in his movements. Where the air elementals prevail, he will be graceful, a dancer, a jumper, or a runner, and can pass over heights without fear of falling. The water elementals give a love of water, swimming, and bathing. The earth elementals make him heavy in body so that he prefers to keep on solid ground. These 4 classes of elementals are combined in different proportions. Where one class is lacking, the person will fear the conditions which the lacking class would have made agreeable to him.
Such a wonderful complex matter that has been put forth, very beautifully put forth by Percival. This is, see how it is all, the formation is being made at that level itself, in the womb itself. Everything is formed. So, it is 4 elementals that go to form the physical body. So, how it is built? So, how the proportions are varying from one body to the other because of the elementals. So much of differences are there. The body that is very much in, there is more of a fire element in that body. Then that person will be more quick to move about everything. And secondly, the second thing is the water element. Water means he will be able to swim, he will not have any fear, all those things. And air element, he will have grace, dancing, everything. The earth element is more, means he will be more inclined to be heavy and connected to the earth element that much. So, it is all in proportions, these vary. So, small proportions, if they vary also, our characteristics are varying. So, how beautifully the physical body is formed with the elementals, and our movement, our bodily activities also show where which is more, which is less, and how the beautifully they are combined together to form a physical body. That is what we have to know in this reading. So, over to Rajan for further reading.
So, the lack of fire elementals causes fear of fire and inability to deal with it and the danger of being burnt. The lack of air elementals will cause a dread of dizzy heights or any heights, of looking into deep places or of walking on a trestle. Such a person will never make a good dancer or a swift runner. The lack of water elementals becomes evident by the dislike of the water and by misgivings where water is concerned. Such a person will not really enjoy bathing or make a good swimmer. Lack of the earth element will cause one to get away from the land and seek the water. He will be ever moving about, restless and seeking change.
So, what Percival goes on to say is that the proportions in which the elementals are combined, they go to form the body, physical body. So, a lack of it also brings about so many problems. That is, a man who is lacking in fire element, fire element is very, very minimal in that physical body, then he will be fearing fire and death by fire. All those things will be his attitudes in life, that is his emotions in his life. So, they go on to go to the other stage, by through emotions they will get all these fears. So, next is the air element. Air element means that person will never be able to dance. He dislikes dance, and he also fears heights and the fall from heights. He will never like to have a cliff climbing, all those things. He will never enter into all those that area at all. So, such a person will have a lot of fear of heights. And third is fear of water, dislike of water, and even taking bath will be a big ritual for him. So like that it will be a very difficult idea to have even a bath. So that sort of person, we can say that he has got that water element very minimal in his body. And the earth element, if he is attached to that, he will never like all the other elements, especially water. He will like to remain only on earth, solid ground, never go in even into the water. So like that the characteristics change because of the presence of the element or the lack of the element. So the elementals, they play a very important role in forming the physical body, that we have to understand.
According to the predominance or absence of a certain class of elementals, one will select or be attracted to or led into a vocation, and certain events will happen to him. Those who become firemen, stokers, smelters, electricians, fighters, actors, or astronomers by choice do so because in them the fire elementals predominate. In dancers, mountain climbers, or aeronauts, athletes, musicians, poets, and singers, the air element prevails. The water elementals make men sailors, fishermen, boatmen, or good cooks. The earth elementals make men workers of the soil, miners, farmers, or masons. The four temperaments are due to the prevalence of elementals of a particular class in the personal makeup. Fire elementals make men ardent, irascible, and quarrelsome. Air elementals make them dreamers and light-hearted. Water elementals make them restless, adventurous, and changeable. And earth elementals make them heavy, stolid, and materialistic. Worldly success and failure are determined, and foundations for them are built into the embryo by these four classes of elementals from the magic symbols on the breath form. Each class of elementals represents its own great sphere of fire, air, water, or earth, but in the earth sphere, the other three worlds are subordinated to the physical world. Where the great spirit of the earth rules, and where the most concrete form of his rule is money. For one to have material success, the earth elementals must be powerful in his makeup.
Yeah, it is also very wonderful. So how our temperaments, they change according to the
Elementals.
Quantity of elementals that are put forth, that help us in forming that part of the body. So the elementals, they play a very, very important role in forming the body. So the four elementals, they represent the four elements to which they belong. So fire, water, air, and earth. So for all the four elementals, they represent this. So with fire element is more means the characteristics is different. Fire element is less means the characteristics are very different. So like that our temperaments change according to the quantity, the quality and quantity of the elementals. So if they represent more of fire and they form that flesh body, then the person will be more involved in those activities, firemen, like that, what has been read out. Whereas in other, with other elementals, the characteristics are different. So temperaments, they keep on moving like this, changing like this. So accordingly, their characteristics also will be changing. So we should understand that because of the differences in the quality and quantity of the elementals working to form the physical body, our characteristics change. This is all because of the impressions that are created in the breath form, that beautiful magical breath form, that is the underlying principles on which these elementals work in the womb itself to form the physical body. Even one cell is formed like that, then it grows into different cells and they become many. Suppose the fire elementals have worked more and they have given their energies more, then the body will be different, the characteristics will be different, the temperament will be different. So that is why we differ from person to person. Even the twins, they have got different characteristics. They are formed at the same time in the same womb, but the proportion of the elementals they have worked for each child will be different. That we have to understand. So, over to Rajan for further reading.
So friends, we have come to the end of how the physical body is made up, and there are so many important things which we have to understand to know that these elementals cause the occupation or the profession which the human, that is the doer in the body, will be taking up and which will decide his destiny. So it is for us to root the right approach by knowing that how we think decides our destiny, and how we plan it also depends upon us. There is no external force which decides how we should live or how we can get to do things on this earth. Everything is in our hands and we create our own realities, and that is the principle which we have been following all along. So once again, thanks to Harold Baldwin Percival, we have understood that when we think properly, we will be able to form our destiny to the best of our satisfaction. Thank you, thank you, thank you.